Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 15. Top of the page, 15a, top of the page with the words the Al Yudei Shlosha B'nei Korah, and by the three sons of Korah. Yirmiyah Kasav Sifro, the Sefer Malachim V'Kinos. Jeremiah wrote his own book, meaning the book of Sefer Yirmiyah was written by him, and the book of Kings and Lamentations. Hezekiah and his colleagues wrote the following. A mnemonic to remember them, which books they wrote, is Yud Mem Shin Kuf, which is Yeshaya, Mishlei, Shir Hashirim, and Koheles. Yimshak. Anshe Knesset Gedola Kasu, and the simon there is Kuf Nun Dalad Gimel, which is Yecheskel Shnei Masar. I'm not sure how the Kuf ties into that simon there. Yecheskel Shnei Masar Daniel and Megillas Esther. Ezra wrote Yecheskel. The Kuf maybe is Yecheskel. Shnei Masar, Daniel, and Megillas. Ezra, okay, I see it. The Kuf is from Yecheskel. The Kuf. Shnei Masar, and then Daniel, and then Megillas has to be the Gimel. Ezra Kasav Sefro Yachais Shal Divro Yamim Olo. Okay, so they're saying that Ezra wrote his own book, and the scroll of Megillah, and the genealogy of Chronicles until his period. The Gemara comments, this supports Rav, as Rav Yehuda says that Rav says Ezra did not ascend from Babylonia to Eretz Yisrael until he established his own genealogy. After that he ascended. This genealogy is what is written in the book of Chronicles. And who completed the book of Chronicles for the generations following Ezra? Nehemiah, son of Chachliah. The Gemara elaborates on the particulars of this Braita. The master said above that Joshua wrote his own book and 8 verses of the Torah. The Gemara comments, this Braita is taught in accordance with the one who says that it was Joshua who wrote the last 8 verses in the Torah. This point is subject to a Tannaitic dispute, as it is taught in another Braita, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there. Deuteronomy 34, verse 5. Is it possible that after Moses died, he himself wrote and Moses died there? Rather, Moses wrote the entire Torah up until this point, and Joshua wrote from this point forward. This is the statement of Rabbi Yehuda, and some say that Rabbi Nehemiah stated this opinion. Rabbi Shimon said to him, is it possible that the Torah scroll is missing a single letter? But it is written, take this Torah scroll. Deuteronomy 31:26, indicating that the Torah was complete and is, as is, and nothing further would be added to it. Rather, until this point, the Holy One, blessed be He, dictated, and Moses repeated after him, and wrote the text. From this point forward, with respect to Moses' death, the Holy One, blessed be He, dictated, and Moses wrote with tears. The fact that the Torah was written by way of dictation can be seen later, as it is stated concerning the writing of the prophets. And Baruch said to them, He dictated all these words to me, and I wrote them with ink in this scroll. Jeremiah 36:18. And I wrote them with ink in the scroll. The Gemara asks, in accordance with whose opinion is that which Rabbi Yehoshua bar Abba says, that Rav Gidl says, that Rav says, when the Torah is read publicly in the synagogue, one person reads the last 8 verses in the Torah, and that section may not be divided between 2 readers? Shall we say that this is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, and not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, as according to Rabbi Shimon, these verses are an integral part excuse me whoa Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Yehuda, shall we say, according to Rabbi Shimon, these verses are an integral part of the Torah written by Moses, just like the rest. Our answer is, even if you say that this was said in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, since they differ from the rest of the Torah in one way, as Moses wrote them with tears, they differ from the rest of the Torah in this way as well. In other words, they may not be divided between 2 readers. Yehoshua Kasav Sifro. It is stated in the Batra that Joshua wrote his own book. The Gemara asks, but isn't it written toward the end of the book? And Joshua, son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died. Joshua 24:29. Is it possible that Joshua wrote this? The Gemara answers, Aaron's son, Eleazar, completed it. The Gemara asks, but isn't it also written, and Eleazar, son of Aaron, died? Joshua 24:33. The Gemara answers, Pinchas completed it. It is also stated in the Batra that Samuel wrote his own book. The Gemara asks, but isn't it written, and Samuel died? 1 Samuel 28:3. The Gemara answers, Gad the seer and Nathan the prophet finished it. It is further stated that David wrote the book of Psalms by means of 10 elders, whom the Batra proceeds to list. The Gemara asks, but then let it also count Ethan the Ezrahite, Eitan, today is Thursday, Tanya, Eitan Ezrahi. No, today is Thursday, it's not, it's my own thing. But let them also count Ethan Ezrahite among the contributors to the book of Psalms, as it is he who credited with Psalms, chapter 89. Rav says Ethan the Ezrahite is the same person as Abraham. Proof for this is the fact that it is written here, a maskil of Ethan the Ezrahite, Psalms 81 verse 9, and it is written there, who raised up one from the east, Mizrach, whom righteousness met whenever he set his foot. Isaiah 41:2. The latter verse is understood as referring to Abraham, who came from the east, and for the reason he is called Ethan the Ezrahite. In the former verse. Abraham. That's why Abraham is Thursday. Aton is Thursday. Wow, today is Thursday. Okay. The Gemara asks, the Brite counts Moses among the 10 elders whose works are included in the book of Psalms. And it counts Haman. That's Haman spelled Hey Yud Mem Nun. But doesn't Rav say the Haman mentioned in the Bible in 1 Kings 5:11 is the same person as Moses? This is proven by the fact that it is written here, Haman, Psalms 88 verse 1, which is Aramaic for trusted. And it is written there about Moses, for he is B'chol Beiti Ne'emanhu. Haman, Ne'eman. Trust in all my house, Numbers 12:7. The Gemara answers, there were two Hamans. One of them was Moses, and the other a temple singer from among the descendants of Samuel. Okay. The Bride further states that Moses wrote his own book, meaning the Torah. The portion of Bilam, I'm not sure why the Gemara is saying portion of Bilam, if that's in the Torah. Anyway, portion of Bilam in the book of Job. This supports Rabbi Levi bar Lachma, as Rabbi Levi bar Lachma says Job lived in the time of Moses. It is written here with regard to Job, oh, that my words are written now. Job 19:23. And it is written there in Moses' words to God, for in what shall be known for here, Apho. Mi attain Apho. And then Moshe said, Vameh yada Apho. The unusual use of the word Apho in these two places indicates that Job and Moses lived in the same generation. The Gemara comments, but if that is the proof, see that Job lived in the time of Isaac. As is written in connection with Isaac, who then is he that has taken medicine? Mi Apho, hu atzad tzayin. Genesis 27:33. Or say that he lived in the time of Jacob, as it is written with respect to Jacob, if it must be now, do this. Im kain Apho zosasu. Right. Or say he lived in the time of Joseph, as it is written with respect to Joseph, tell me, I pray you, where are they feeding their flocks? Apho hem ro'im. Right. Genesis 37:16. The Gemara answers, it could not enter your mind to say this, as it is written in continuation of the previously mentioned verse, oh, that my words were inscribed in a book. Job 19:23, and it is Moses who is called the inscriber, as it is written with regard to him, and he provided the first is Moses who is called the inscriber, as is written with regard to me. He provided the first part for himself, for there was the inscriber's portion reserved. Vayar Rishis Lo, Ki Sham Chalkas Mechokek, Safun. Deuteronomy 33:21. Rava says Job lived at the time of the spies, whom Moses sent to scout the land of Canaan. This is proven by the fact that it is written here, there was a man in the land of Uz. That's what Uz is. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Job 1:1. And it is written there in the account of the spies, where there are trees in it. Etz. Numbers 13:20. The Gemara asks, is that comparable? Is it comparable? Here, the word is used as utz, whereas the word there is the word etz, eitz. The Gemara answers, this is what Moses said to Israel, to the spies. Is that man named Job still alive? He whose years are as long as the years of a tree, and who protects its generation like a tree. This is why the allusion to him is here is through the word eitz rather than utz. The Gemara relates that one of the sages sat before Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani, and he sat and said, Job never existed and was never created. There was never such a person as Job. Rather, his story was a parable. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani said to him, in rebuttal to you, the verse states, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. Job 1, which indicates that such a man did indeed exist. The Gemara asks, but if that is so, the words was there prove that Job existed, what shall we say about the parable that Nathan the prophet presented to David? There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had very many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing except one little lamb which he had brought and reared. 2 Samuel 12:3. Was there really such a person? Rather, it was merely a parable. Here too, it is merely a parable. The Gemara answers, if so, that it is a parable, why state his name and the name of his city? Rather, Job was clearly a real person. The Gemara cites another opinion with regard to the time when Job lived. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar both say Job was among those who ascended from the exile to Eretz Yisrael at the start of the Second Temple period, and his house of study was in Tiberias. The Gemara raises an objection from what is taught in the Batra. The days of Job's life extended from when Israel entered Egypt until they left, indicating that this is the time, the period during which he lived, and not as suggested in the early days of the Second Temple.